When we can cut off time in our meal planning routine, it is amazing because time out of the kitchen, it gives us more time back to dedicate to what we want, whether it is getting some of those tasks done, getting some work done around the house or in our businesses, or just spending time with kids or going and doing something fun. There are so many other ways that we could be spending our time. So, kind of cutting down on that kitchen time is so beneficial when we can kind of make some tweaks and learn some little tips and hacks along the way that will benefit us. So that's what I want to bring you today. I want to bring you 5 tips that you can bring to your meal planning routine that will help you save time in the kitchen.
Are you ready to stop the chaos, the stress, the overwhelm that's filling your life? I'm Renae Matt, and together you and I are going to build simple routines that are going to change your life. When you put these habits into practice, you're going to be able to organize your life in a way where you can be there for your family, pay off your debt, save money, your house can stay organized, you don't have to stress about what's for dinner, and you still get time for yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. Welcome to the Routine Advantage Podcast.
I think this is always a good topic to bring up at different seasons. Right now, we're going into the fall. We've already kind of gone through the back to school season for moms out there or parents out there, I should say. And now we're kind of heading into that mid fall where it's kind of a little bit slow right before it goes into the holidays. And we all know that life never really slows down truly. And we have to prioritize the time because if we don't prioritize it, then it's always just going to be busy. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to really get a handle on our meal planning routine because we spend a lot of time in the kitchen because we're eating all the time, whether it is dinner or breakfast or lunch or snacks or getting other food for other people or like potlucks or events. There's always food. And we spend a lot of time either preparing food, eating food, planning food, all the things. So, this is a way that you can pull some little tips into your meal planning routine that hopefully you can take one of them. Maybe you'll want to take all of them, but hopefully they'll help you to just get a handle on your meal planning routine so that you can have more time back in your day for other things that maybe don't involve food. So, number one, the first tip I want to bring you is to clean and prep your veggies ahead of time. And I have talked about this before, but I couldn't skip this because it is so important, I think, to make healthy meals a lot easier. So, what we like to do is actually take all of our vegetables when we get home from, or I usually do the grocery shopping for the big stuff. So, I get them home and I fill a sink full of cold water with white vinegar, and I just do like a sink full of water with like a half to full cup of vinegar. We have a really big sink, so sometimes I'll do a full cup, but basically you're just splashing that white vinegar in there with cold water. Make sure your sink is clean, obviously. And then I just drop all of my vegetables as I'm unloading my bags, and I put those into the sink. I don't worry about doing them all separately. I mean, they're all getting clean, so I just toss them all in, and then I let them sit for like 10 minutes as I'm putting the rest of the meals away and getting the rest of the food away and getting prepped with like a cutting board and a knife and all that stuff. And then I put paper towels out onto the counter and I rinse off all of that produce really well. And I do vegetables, I'll do fruit, berries, all sorts of things, any produce that needs to be washed that I think will keep okay. And then once I do that, I let it fully dry on those paper towels and then I will chop it all. Now, what I like to do is I have little like produce saver containers that go in our fridge. So on there, it has like a little cheat sheet, but you can Google the best way to store different types of produce to make it last the longest. A lot of times, just straight mason jars work really well to keep produce good for a long time. But it tells you with those little cheat sheets, it tells you the best way to kind of wrap it up or package it with moisture, without moisture, those types of things. But what I love doing about this is that we have all of this produce already cleaned. We have a lot of it already chopped and prepped. So that not only is it easy to just go grab some vegetables or fruits for snacks because it's already cleaned and accessible, but it also makes meals really easy because if we're doing chicken and some grilled broccoli or steamed broccoli or roasted veggies, all we have to do is literally grab those vegetables out of the fridge and dump them on a sheet pan and throw them in the oven. I mean, obviously you want some oil and seasonings on them, but it's so simple to just put those in and have that ready to go because I take just a little bit of time when I bring it home to just prep everything for the week, and then I don't have to really prep vegetables for the rest of the week. And sometimes I'll have to maybe dice something up a little bit, but it takes such minimal time that I don't have to worry about starting from scratch and cleaning something and then chopping it and then getting it into the oven. Like it just cuts down so much on this time that it saves me a lot of time in the kitchen throughout the week. And like berries, things like that, they're already cleaned, they're already prepped. They actually will last longer when you store them properly too. They don't, get bad within a day or two of bringing them home. I can sometimes get my berries and even like bell peppers and things like that to last like 2 weeks. It's crazy how much better it is and just how much easier it is. So all around, this is a big one for me. I highly, highly, highly recommend that. Tip number 2 is to make extra dinner when and then put it in the freezer. So when you are prepping dinner, it doesn't really matter what it is. It could be chili, it could be soups, it could even be like something like lasagna. There are things that you can do to store it in the freezer ahead of time, whether it's already cooked or if it's pre-cooked. So there are a couple different ways you can do this. If it is something that you could maybe put into a crock pot, you could make a batch of, let's say you're doing some sort of like chicken tortilla soup. If you're going to do a chicken tortilla soup, you can throw some in the crock pot or the slow cooker, and then you can do the same thing with the same ingredients, but just instead of making a double batch in the slow cooker, put that second batch like basically you're making 2 batches, but put 1 in, like, a gallon Ziploc, and then once you have it all put together in the slow cooker, you also have it put together in the Ziploc, so you're just making a double batch, but you're keeping them separate, and then just put it in the freezer, so all you have to do at some point is just dump that bag into your slow cooker, and you've already got a meal ready to go. Let's say you make a big batch of chili and just make extra, and then when you are ready to serve, take half of it away and like let it cool, but then put it into a Ziploc or a freezer safe container and throw it in the freezer. So now you've got a batch of chili already ready to go. If you are making lasagna, make an extra pan of lasagna and then wrap it up before you bake it and throw it in the freezer. And then there are so many tips on Google on how to store these different foods if you're really not sure the best way to freeze something. But you can do things like that, and then it makes it so easy to have kind of a little stockpile of extra meals in your freezer that are ready to go for either on the nights that you just need something quick and easy, or you're not in the mood to cook, but it prevents you from getting takeout or ordering junk food that you really don't want. You want a good, nice meal. You can have these things set aside. And sometimes you might find that there's just going to be a really crazy busy week. You can have these little stockpile of meals ready to go, and your meal plan just consists of freezer meals that you or your family can pull out for each day. And one little tip here that's not involved in my tips, but if you have, let's say it is, your lasagna that you're going to throw in the oven, but you're going to be out of the house, a lot of ovens, if you look at the settings, I didn't even realize ours did this until my mom used it, and I was like, "Oh, that's handy." I didn't even look and pay attention to my settings on our oven, but you can actually set a timer for when you want the oven to turn on, and then it will turn on automatically for you. So now there's like a way that we can throw something in the oven and then we go to the gym, but when we're at the gym, it will start the oven so that by the time we get home, we actually have a hot, warm meal coming right out of the oven. It is so nice. So that is something to keep in mind too if you are really busy and you have something like that. But just make sure that you have a backup plan that if for some reason your schedule is going to change, there's going to be somebody there or to make sure you're home when this is. So I'm not liable for any issues or really burned meals if if you don't get home on time. So just use that one tentatively, but it's good to know. Okay, number 3. The third tip I want to say is to make extra protein. So if you're not ready to do a full extra meal when you're doing this, make extra protein during like one meal. So let's say on Monday you're having chicken, like grilled chicken and salad. Well, make extra chicken because you're already going through the work of doing it. Make extra so then maybe on Tuesday you can kind of do some like chop it up and do some burrito bowls. And then maybe on Wednesday you have extra chicken still and you want to throw it into like a chicken alfredo or some sort of chicken soup or chicken quesadillas, things like that. You can have extra protein already prepped and ready, and it just makes it easier for meals later throughout the week. Now, you do have to be careful with the timing of how long you keep uh, like meats that are cooked. I think the general guideline is up to 4 days. But you'll have to play with that, see what works for you and your family. And if all else fails, just make extra chicken, throw it in the freezer, and then you've got some already made and ready to pull out for quick chicken tacos or something later on in the week too. So if a full meal is a little too much for you, just focus on the proteins and that might make things a little bit easier even if you're starting small like that. Tip number 4 is to have a list of go to like default meals. So these are meals that you pretty much always have the ingredients on hand for. For us and our family, it is basically like tacos. Like we pretty much always have the things that we need for tacos. Salad is another one. Like we'll pretty much always have ingredients for some type of salad. So whether it is like a taco salad or a chicken salad or like a grilled chicken salad, things like that, we pretty much always have those types of ingredients. So if you have a list of default meals that you know your family likes and you know you pretty much always have ingredients that you can make some version of that, just have a little list of those. Even if you throw it on a post it and put it next to your meal planner, that will make it easier that when you are really trying to figure out what to have, what to make because your brain isn't functioning, maybe you didn't have a time to create a meal plan, you do have some go-to meals that are quick and easy and you know your family enjoys. And especially if maybe one of your meal plans that you had planned on doesn't pan out or you just don't have time to dedicate to what you had planned for, it's always nice to have those little backups. This is also where those extra freezer meals would come in really handy. But that is another idea for you. And then the fifth tip is if you're really struggling and you just need to save some time and you don't know what to make and what recipe to look for, I love having a default of just building a meal very, very simply. So it's you pick your protein, you pick a veggie, and then you add whatever else to it that you need. So this could be something as simple as, grilling some chicken and having those roasted veggies on the side. If you want to add, a loaf of sourdough or you want to add some sort of special sauce or like even like a salad or a coleslaw or something on the side, you can do whatever you want. But it's super easy to just know that you have some proteins in the freezer that you can pull out if you need to, and you have some vegetables, whether they're fresh or in the freezer, and you can pull those out if you need to, and that will build a really basic quick meal. And then you can add the extras to it that you want if you want some potatoes or carbs or some sort of yummy sauce. It just makes it super simple and easy when you pretty much always have those things on hand. So I'm hoping that that this type of episode is really helpful for you. I never know if you guys prefer these types of episodes where it's like quick tips of what you could do, and you can kind of pull what you want, or if you want like a step by step on specific things. So I would love to hear from you if you have any input or opinion on that. I would love to hear from you. If you would like, you can certainly email us at theroutineadvantagepodcast@gmail.com. And we always love to hear from people. So if you have a few minutes and you want to reach out to us, I would so appreciate hearing from you. The other thing I want to mention before you go is if you have been ready for some decluttering in your house. We did this last year and I am excited to bring it back to you. So, we did a declutter challenge last fall and people loved it. We loved it. Clara is my sister and she kind of works for me in the Facebook community and doing things on the back end of the business. And she's amazing and so helpful. So, if you ever hear from her in the group, like she's corresponding to things and answering questions in there too. So feel free to say hi to her and tell her she's doing an amazing job because she truly is. But we have a declutter challenge coming again that is just going to be so much fun. And we are changing it up a little bit. Last time we did a 21 day and it just was a little too long. So we're kind of shortening it and we're making it a little more compact. We're going to do a 14-day challenge and we're going to go through the weekends too. So it's consistent and that momentum continues. Last time we had a lot of momentum in the first 5 days, and then when we took the weekend off, it kind of came back a little slower. So we're going to learn from that and see if this is helpful to continue it each day because we had a lot of people say that they wished that we didn't take the weekends off. They wanted it to keep going so that they could, have that momentum and keep it flowing through the full challenge. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a 14-day challenge from November 4th to November 17th. So it will start on a Monday and then we're going to do 2 full weeks. So the last day will actually fall on a Sunday. And then you can earn entries into a giveaway drawing. And each challenge that you complete will help you to earn entries. So it's going to be a ton of fun. We're still putting together the actual challenge. So it's in the works, but we will have more information coming. I just wanted to make sure that you had a heads up that it is coming very soon. So get ready to do a declutter challenge with us. If you want to join us for that, it's going to be all happening in our Facebook community, which you can find at facebook.com/groups/the routine advantage community. And you can also find that in our show notes. If you need to actually just go and click the link, you can find it there as well. But we will have all of the information getting posted in our Facebook community. So if you have not joined us in there yet, strongly encourage you to do so because we would love to have you in there and it's going to be a ton of fun. So I will see you on the next episode. Take care.
Did you love that episode or learn something useful? If so, would you do me a huge favor? My goal is to grow this podcast and help as many women as I can break free from the overwhelm so they can truly enjoy their life. The best way for me to do this is for you to leave a 5-star written review on your podcast app and to share this episode with a friend or in your Instagram stories. I appreciate you being here. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you on the next episode. Take care.